I'm Lynette.
Hey everybody, it's Melody. And we have two guests with us here today, and I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. So I'll start here to my right.
Hello everyone, my name is Nicole. I am from the Navajo Nation. I am a senior studying biomedical sciences and American Indian Studies at ASU. I am the chapter president for Alpha Pi Omega Sorority at ASU, Honey Rocky Nevada chapter, and I cross all of seminary seniors starting out this school.
Dang! That's all I gotta say.
Goodbye. My name is Tyler Miller, and I'm a member of the Wagnon application. I'm also a current senior at Arizona State University studying art history and American Indian Studies. I am the current dean of Honeycomb, so the IATA chapter of Alpha Pi Omega Sorority Incorporated, and I crossed in the spring of 2018 as the divine force of resilience.
Well, thank you for joining us, ladies. I myself am a part of Apple Pie Omega Story also, but I'm here today to just interview you guys. But as for me, I crossed back spring 2011, and I am the Melody of Permanence, and I crossed with the Melody of Marvels back in 2011.
Yeah, so we actually have some guests joining us today, all the way from Oklahoma, and they're going to introduce themselves, but we thought it would be cool to invite a Native fraternity to the table to talk about their experience and why they feel it's important. So Adarius, I'm gonna turn it over to you, and you wanna start with introductions?
Yeah, sure. I'll start us off, I guess. So yate, Adarius Begay in the shit, the clone in the shit, yeah, Ani Bashchi, Tachi Dashte, Ake Dene Dashnilla. Hello, my name is Adarius Begay. I'm a Navajo. I'm actually from Phoenix, Arizona, so always nice to talk with some folks from there. I am in my senior year studying computer science, and I am currently the vice president of Sigma Nu Alpha Gamma here at the University of Oklahoma, the Society of Native American Gentlemen. And I crossed in spring of 2019, I believe. Yeah.
Sierra Nevada, Treyton Dagodoa. My name is Treyton Vu Morris. My tribes are Cherokee and Mississippi Choctaw. I crossed in fall 2016. My majors are psych and social work.
Halito, I'm Crispin South. I'm Choctaw, and I am a junior studying international security studies at the University of Oklahoma. And I crossed in fall of 2020.
Ani, JT Ndishnikas. My name is JT. I'm a freshman here at OU. I'm a mechanical engineering major, and I also crossed in fall of 2020. Oh, and my tribes. I'm Ojibwe, Ottawa, and Potawatomi.
My name is James. Everyone calls me JJ. I am an enrolled Cherokee citizen as well. I'm actually in my first year in my doctoral program. I'm majoring in adult and higher education and in the educational leadership and policy studies here at OU. I crossed back in 2012, so kind of been around for a minute. So
Blaze.
Man.
Oh, guys, I'm so pumped right now. Like, you guys are getting me so hype over here. Like, to see what is coming up and out of here from the colleges is just getting me pumped. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us. I'm so excited that you guys are here.
Yeah, so Alpha Pi Omega Sorority Incorporated was actually founded on September 1st of 1994, and it is actually the first Native American sorority in the nation. At ASU, where we both go, the IOTA chapter was founded May 4th, 2007. Along with it being founded on that date, it was founded on the four main principles of education, traditionalism, spirituality, and contemporary issues. And those four main principles, if when you're a sister, you uphold those values and everything with it and everything that you do. Can you speak a little bit more?
Yeah, you covered most of the basics. We do have three sorority colors that you will see us repping and wearing all the time, which is fire red, and grass green, and maize yellow. We have over 800 plus sisters across the country. We were originally founded in North Carolina, Chapel Hill. So we're really popular on the East Coast, and we have also a chapter at the U of A, actually, our Zeta chapter. And yeah, it's just an amazing group of women. We uphold education daily, especially here at the IOTA chapter. We're known for our high grades and just our community involvement. So it's just a wonderful organization.
How many chapters are there?
I think we're just around 10 chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just around 10, if not like 11.
I think it's 11 with the new chapter now.
So,
And then on top of that, there's also like original chapters,
Yes.
graduate, professional, also. So
Yes.
it's not just undergrad.
yes, that is true. Those are, I think it's about 11 undergrad chapters. So that's not including all the professional and the professional chapters out there.
Okie dokie. First of all, yes, we know how it's spelled. It is sort of a parody of the term snag. It is to, got the words, no. It's, it's sort of a parody of the word snag. It's like derogatory to, like, if you know, but like, it's to uplift Native men so that we can rise above those stereotypes, those preconceived notions. It's the name Society of Native American Gentlemen.
I'd like to chime in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the purpose of Sigma Nu Alpha Gamma, we're trying to increase retention, cultural awareness, leadership skills, and we do that through our 4 pillars, which are academic excellence, spiritual well-being, cultural awareness, and physical fitness. And essentially what we're doing, we're here to be the foundation for incoming Native men, and we're here to build them up and help them succeed while they're here, attaining the degrees in higher education. So there's my blurb.
Man, I'm so glad we have you here, JJ, because I think we would love Treyton. The official explanation.
I have a question. When were you guys founded, and were you founded at the university you're at right now?
Yes, we were founded here at the University of Oklahoma in 2004.
Cool.
Right?
Yes,
Okay,
October
good.
22nd.
Okay, good. Need to make sure.
No.
I was too.
I was like, y'all better know this.
JJ, I think it's so funny because this is my first introduction to this whole dynamic of fraternities and sororities, and Lynette over here is
alumni,
you, yeah,
older.
and you can see the dynamic.
Yeah, I'm like, I said the same thing. I was like, you better know. You better know.
I decided to join APIO because I was in a very, lonely point in my life when I wasn't really satisfied with the relationships that I had built. And I was kind of longing for that sisterhood bond because I grew up with just a younger brother and I've been really close to my cousins, but I've never had that sisterly bond with anyone. And I had heard about the Pi Omega at ASU, I was introduced to it, and just really enjoyed seeing the connection that all the sisters had. And I wanted to be with them, I wanted to know them, I wanted to be close with them. And not only that, but their values align so close with what I hold near to my heart. So I just thought it was a perfect match for me. And I'm so glad I did because I did get that sisterhood bond that I was longing for, and I'm really happy.
Yes, I definitely agree a lot with what Nicole said, except I grew up with 2 younger sisters, so I have plenty of sisters in my life. I actually joined my freshman year, so my second semester of my freshman year, because right off the bat, coming from Tucson, I was the first in my family to move away, leave the nest. So I had grown up with strong relations with my family and always just constantly being around people like my cousins and my sisters, my brother. So I just needed to feel those connections again. I needed to have those relationships on that kind of level where I could trust and go to people who I felt like would help support me in my college life. So that's when I met some of the sisters. And yes, I loved everything they stood for. They were really academically driven and they held really cool events. And like, okay, I want to do that too. So I joined, and I definitely don't regret it. Like it's kind of made me the person I am today, which I appreciate a lot.
Should I can take this one.
Okay.
Because I think I probably have the most interesting perspective on this. So I'm from Oklahoma City. I was definitely raised outside of the culture. I was never really shown any part of my native culture growing up. And when I came here and I learned about the fraternity, I realized it would be a good opportunity for me to reconnect with that side of myself and kind of learn more about my history. And so that's kind of really what drove me to join the most, is that I could reconnect with my culture when I guess it was just something that was kind of taken away from me growing up. Yeah, it's been a very pleasant experience. It's kind of, it's just opened me up, opened myself up to like learning about a side of myself I didn't know I even had. But I mean, I wouldn't trade these guys for the world. It's definitely been a very nice experience.
JJ,
I think.
Oh no.
yeah, JJ, tell us your story.
Yeah, I came from Talc, Oklahoma. I went to Sequoia, and the population there is like 400 people in total. That's including staff, faculty and the students. And I remember whenever I came to OU, like I felt so small because I was not used to being in such a big, diverse environment. Because in Talc, like I've only been around other Cherokees, so that was easy for me. So then when you come to OU, like I felt like I was getting my butt kicked. And luckily I had people that were looking out for me. Dr. Corey still, he was looking out for me. And it's just, I don't know, it's just been foundational for me because honestly, without this fraternity, I don't know where I would have been in my undergrad, and they definitely helped me lead the way. So, because I was scared. Like my first, I still remember playing this day. My first class in like my zoology class was like 400 people in the auditorium, and I'm like, dang, like my whole high school's in here. But like it was crazy.
High school's in here. That's all, every res, huh? Every res is so small. Boys, do you have anything else? Gentlemen? The snack gentlemen? I can't. Do you guys have anything else to add to that?
I think I got some. I remember for me, coming to OU, I didn't have any intentions of joining a fraternity or something. And then so when I heard about it, I was like, that's cool, but I don't want to do that yet. So, and then I didn't join until my sophomore year. And when I rushed, I did it with some other students who I knew from summer camp I was their counselor at. And then so I did it with them, and then it really just got me closer with them. And I remember the reason why I joined, it wasn't because like I was struggling or anything in class. It was just more of, I guess I was losing myself, I guess culturally is how I'd say it. Like I used to do a lot of Navajo stuff back home, and then just now coming here, I just felt myself losing that way. And then so I just joined and felt like it will definitely help me, give me a safe space, I guess, to do my cultural practices. And it definitely has done that for me. And it was great.
I think for me, I grew up, pretty far outside of, tribal activity. I grew up in Alabama, and I'm a member of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. There was not really any kind of indigenous community at all in Alabama. And so it was just, myself, my mom, and my brothers were, the only other Native people we knew. So it was just, my mom trying to teach us about, tribal culture, and all of that. And so when I came to OU, I wasn't really ever looking to join a fraternity. And then last year I met these guys and just kind of, loved the community that it provided. And I've, always been looking for a good space to learn more about tribal history and culture. And I think this provides a really good way to do that.
I was actually thinking about what you have said about like how your family thought about it when you joined. Can you guys share a little bit more about how this process and this sorority that you joined aligns with let's just say, indigenous identity?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's funny too because Facebook's kind of like all over the place, but like I think there's a heavy native presence on Facebook. We had a photo a couple years ago, or maybe it was like, 2 years ago, that kind of went viral on Facebook because a random native page had reposted it, and it was like native beauty or something like that, the Facebook page.
Yeah.
And so people just randomly started sharing this photo of me and my sisters at the shop here. And people were commenting, they're like so proud of you, so like, yes, you go girls. And other people would be like, you guys are just, you're calling that kids, like you're just giving into the white man system. So like you like saw comments that went back and forth like that. And I thought it was so funny because I don't think I would be as in touch with my indigenousness, my nativeness, if I didn't join the sorority. I grew up in Tucson in the city, and while I'm very close with my native roots, my native family, I didn't really understand, you know, the sacredness of being native and like how that is so special and how that is my identity until I came to college and until I joined the sorority. And you know, my specific thing is spirituality, and I would have never, you know, thought I was a spiritual person or anything, but now like that's something I carry with me every day. And you know, I didn't own any shells. I didn't really have traditional wear. One of my older sisters actually gifted me my first traditional dress, and so it just opened up my way of looking at myself, my family, my community, like nothing else had it before. So I kind of just laugh at those comments when I laugh at my family because I'm doing all this amazing stuff now, specifically with the native community, because I joined the sorority.
Sorry to go out. Sorry. But yeah, I completely agree with what Tyler had said. With it being like aligned with my indigenous identity, I came to college very like whitewashed. I went to a predominantly white public school system, and seeing how involved and close the Native community at ASU was, I was really interested and I wanted to join that, which is why I joined the APIO. And after going through such a sacred process, it really allowed me to like kind of dig deep into my roots and where I come from. And I'm Spirit Clan as well, Air Clan. And with that, like I kind of touched more into my personality because I was designated that clan because of my personality and what I practice. I guess what I'm trying to say is it is very sacred, and I was able to touch into my traditional aspect of who I am. I was raised in the city. I was taught my ceremonial practices. I was taught like my traditions and everything. But coming to ASU and joining the sorority, I really looked at it from a bigger point of view because I guess I was never really in touch. And now that I have all these sisters who, some of them are traditional, some of them are not, but we all have indigenous identity, and I was really able to explore that when I joined the sisterhood.
So the question that we have is, I'm actually getting a lot of revelations to your story. But you know, like your experience when you decided to join and you went through, you know, your first year, freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, now you're at your senior year. Like, what is like the biggest thing that kind of stuck out to you because it only would have happened because you joined, right? What's your revelation?
I think for me, the biggest revelation coming in was that like not everyone has the same opportunities I had in high school. Because I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, and the high school I had was a big high school. It had all these amazing programs that allowed me and set me up to succeed in a university. And then when I got here and joined a fraternity, I realized quickly that a lot of the Oklahoma schools are not that great at preparing you for the next level. And then
sad.
Yeah. And then so just seeing that there are people out there who do need support from, I guess, from an academic standpoint and stuff. It was very eye-opening for me, just joining the fraternity. Because I don't know how good they were doing in grades and stuff, but I think joining and stuff, I remember doing study nights and everything. And I remember just being a big pusher and trying to get us into the biz and getting our grades up. My grades aren't that great either, but I think without them, they'd probably be a bit more worse. So let's hope not.
We're trying.
Yes, we are trying.
My big revelation was how big of an impact the culture and the community can be for you as you grow up as a student and as an individual. I didn't really grow up with the community. I was in Salina. It's like a very small town. I just mind my business and all that stuff. I didn't really have any ties or anything. I was basically, nothing. Never mind. I was gonna say something. But like, my first experience with like the Native community was actually in college. First powwow, first everything. Didn't know what anything was, stickball and all that, and it kind of grew on me. Like, I never experienced a community that just welcomed me in. It's like, hey, what's your name? What's your tribe? I was like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you're in. Get over here. And it was kind of the warm and loving environment that kept me going in school. And I don't know where I was going with this.
Here, should I take over?
Take over.
So I again kind of have an interesting perspective on this. This is gonna sound kind of strange, but for me, the biggest revelation was honestly that there were other people like me. Because, like I said, I grew up in the city. My tribes are Ojibwe, Ottawa, Potawatomi. It's all from Michigan. Obviously, I'm from Oklahoma City, so there was a little bit of a disconnect there. So growing up, it was always, oh, JT's Native, cool, moving on. There was never really any focus put on it. My mom never really taught us anything. And so coming here and joining this fraternity, it was really kind of eye-opening. And like Treyton said, that everyone was very, very welcoming, very, no one really cared that I didn't know anything. And again, a lot like Treyton, I've never been to a powwow. I've never played stickball. I've never done a lot of that stuff. And obviously we're in a pandemic, so it's kind of hard to do that right now. But so I've still got a lot of those experiences to come, but I would say definitely just like the overwhelming support and how everyone is just very, I would say, like open and considerate to people who haven't been exposed to the culture their whole life.
I freaking love it. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything I can reiterate that they already have. But honestly, I think for me, one thing that helped was the fact that I had brothers that were in graduate school. Because as an undergrad, you're for me, I was playing the game of survival just because like the community I come from, that's really, all my mind was set on. And I think having brothers that were doing it and that have done it is what really inspired me, showing me that like, hey, after undergrad, there's this whole entire world also that you can go into. So I think for me, having brothers that were in graduate school really helped. So.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Ladies, do you have any revelations?
Yeah, so I guess my revelation, obviously when I crossed, it was amazing. But one instance that would not have happened if I wasn't in the sorority was one of my older sisters. She actually was my first time meeting her and first time introducing ourselves to each other, and I told her about like my future career path and what I want to do, and she was like, oh yeah, I've actually already applied to PA school, I've gotten in, accepted. It was just like a financial issue that she was not able to pursue that, but she actually gave me a lot of tips and tricks on what to include in my PA application, what type of experience I should put on my application, and I was really thankful for that instance because this literally would have never happened if we weren't sisters. So I think that was kind of my revelation, was meeting her and talking through that and finding all these different connections, all these older sisters that are in the medical field and that I can look up to and I can reach out to if I ever need help.
I think that's the great part about being in this sorority. I think it's the networking, because you definitely get to kind of go off of somebody else's experience. You have those older sisters to tell you like, do this, do that, don't do this. They're there for you. And I think that's one thing I really like about the sorority.
Yeah, for example, we wouldn't be here if Lynette wasn't here.
Oh yeah.
We wouldn't have this opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah, I think for me, my revelation was like once I joined the sorority, and we're very fortunate at ASU to have such a large Native community. But my revelation was kind of like, if we don't represent, if we don't do these things, no one will. there won't be that representation if we're not here and we're not being present. So that kind of was my jumping off point to be more active in a whole bunch of things that I do at ASU.
Yeah.
But I think that was kind of like, because just because of the misrepresentation that's already so present, especially within a space like ASU, where it's like, okay, you see all these native things everywhere, and you know, we have that kind of presence, but nobody really knows, and there's just kind of like what they make up in their head. So it was really just like, we need to be here, we need to represent and educate people, whether that be through the sorority or in all the other things that we're doing.
Right.
So that was my revelation.
What is the experience about, you know, I would say the things that you're going through your fraternity, and the girls are talking about the sorority too, like all these experience that it's bringing to you, like identity revitalization, giving back to your community, the networking, the support that you got there, like, does that have any meaning to your tribe or to your community or to your family?
I think for me, my family back home, I think they were more reassured with the fact that I have a great support system that's able to watch out for me, because my family is from Arizona and New Mexico, so they don't have the ability to just drive a few hours and visit me every weekend. So I think for them, it's just reassuring to know that I have someone here, or I have a group of people here that can watch out for me and make sure I'm doing the right thing. And also, I guess cultural-wise, just making sure I am staying in touch with my culture. And as for future generations, my sister, she's in middle school right now, going to be high school, and then soon college. And I think right now, when she notices that I'm a part of a fraternity or something that allows me to practice my culture and stuff in a safe environment, I think that can also encourage her to probably look out for resources like that. That way she's able to practice that whenever she goes to university.
Dang, Adarius, that was a good
I
answer.
Thank you. I had another interview before this, so
You got
all
practice.
these questions are sort of the same for me.
I think, at least for me, like I mentioned earlier, I'm really close with my family. My family's really big, and I have lots of cousins around my age, lots of nieces and nephews. And I go back home whenever I can and, you know, visit my family. And my mom's very proud of me. I don't know where I'd be without my mom, but she's always sharing things I'm doing on Facebook and things like that, sharing articles with her coworkers and my cousins and whatnot. And they always tell me, like, we're so proud of you. Like, I have a little god sister and god brother, and they're like, we showed this article you're in or this video you're in to your god sister, and like, I'm so happy she has someone to look up to. And my niece, like, I don't remember what the video was, but there was a recent video on Facebook or something, and my aunt sent me it, and she's like, you know, your niece watches this over and over again since, you know, you're not here physically, but like, she's able to see what you're doing. And like, that really just like fills my heart knowing that like they have someone to look up to, and I'm like the first to move away and to get this education, and I'll be like one of the youngest people in my family to ever receive a bachelor's degree, let alone two, because I'm double majoring. So like, just setting that example that I wouldn't be able to set without the organization.
Oh, I'm getting so emotional over here. Love it. Guys, do you have anything else?
I think for me, the biggest thing is just being able to stay connected to my culture. I think that's something that I would not have been able to do easily at all if I were not a part of this. And I think it sets me up well for success later in life, and staying connected to my culture, you know, past just college. And I think it also will set a good example, like for my siblings. I'm the oldest of 4. And so I think for all of my younger siblings wanting to, you know, I also would like for them to be connected to their culture and heritage as well. And I think by setting that example for them and showing them that this is something that you can do, I think that will, you know, benefit all of us.
I'm gonna kind of take both of my brother's answers and fuse them together, because I've got a lot of aspects of both. As far as piggybacking off of Adarius' answer, my parents, they worry a lot about me. I mean, I only live 30 minutes away from them, but still, you know, they worry a lot. So I think for them, it was nice to know that I had this support system and these guys around me to help me. It's like, for example, a few months ago, I caught COVID and I had these guys here to, you know, bring me food and make sure that I had everything I needed instead of just kind of sitting out there by myself. But then because I was raised outside of the culture, I think it doesn't impact my family as much in that way. But as far as future generations, I think it's going to be very, very beneficial, just because, you know, one day if I have kids, they won't have to go through the same sort of self-identity crisis, I guess, that I've had to go through and I'm still going through about, you know, what does it mean to be Native? Am I Native? It's something I've been kind of tackling for a lot of years, but definitely that has helped a lot as far as joining the fraternity. So I think it's something that's going to be beneficial moving forward, just to kind of have a more like grounded identity, I guess, if that makes sense.
Oh, I love it.
It's stable. Throughout the years, I got connected. I got to learn the language from the fraternity, from the OU community, and I got to come back to my grandma, my grandma's brothers, my great uncles. And I got to speak Cherokee to them. Like previously, they all got like beat and they stopped like teaching the language to the youth. But then they were like, "Hey, how'd you know that? How'd you know those words?" And it just brought a smile to their face when I started talking to them in Cherokee and talk about like some of the traditions, and they just it brought like a tear to my eye. It was very heartwarming. That.
What are you saying? That was a great answer. I was going to say that was a bad answer.
Okay.
That was a good story. Yeah. And then last but not least, I'm curious to know your answer, JJ, because you come from a really small community, right? 400 members, and you've gone through this whole experience, and now you're in your graduate program. Has there been any impact on your family or your community?
I think it just reiterates the fact that, you know, I'm a big component. I'm a huge advocate for your mindset. I truly believe that, especially when we're coming from very poverty-stricken, lower socioeconomic, a lot of us are coming from those backgrounds. And I think it just reiterates the fact that, you know, when there's a desire for more for yourself, more for your community, and you're just gonna push through no matter what. And fortunately, I was blessed enough to come across a scholarship that pays for all of this. And so I don't even have to lift a finger. And, you know, like I said, that mindset, the first time I ever got my first check and stuff like that, I was like, there's a comma in this. I was like, are you sure that's right? Like, is that for me? Like, I'm gonna go to casino. I'm gonna double this.
All black. Still doing it to this day.
But you know, for me, it's raised so many questions about generational wealth, generational mindset, breaking generational curses and cycles. And, you know, what these guys are talking about, it just reiterates to me about mentorship that I can do back to my community, because there's so many other Native youth coming into this, you know, that now that we have all have this knowledge and this experience, we have so much to offer. And I truly believe it's just a gift that's going to keep on giving. And the more you can just pour out in abundance to the youth, it's gonna, I don't know, the future I see for Indian country, it's just, man, you know, I truly believe that we're magical, you know, being indigenous, it's just so, it's powerful, it's a power.
Okay, well, we're just gonna drop the mic on that one and kind of end this conversation. Like, my mind is blown. That's just, like, I'm just overwhelmed by your guys's, yeah. I never knew about this. This is Lynette's topic. I'm an athlete. I'm a college athlete. And that's like, you know, those are subgroups within colleges, right? Like, you're either part of the college athlete portion, or you're part of fraternities or sororities, or you're part of academics or engineering clubs, nursing clubs, medical clubs, right? And I was a college athlete, and I had my own perception of sororities and fraternities that might align to, may or may not align to, the general consensus of what this is, like what fraternities and sororities are. But never knew that there was a such thing as multicultural councils. Never knew that this is the experiences that you get from fraternities or sororities. And I think it's exactly what you were saying, JJ, in regards to like indigeneity in general is a powerful thing, and it will get you through anything once you start coming in tune with your identity and who you are and where you came from. regardless if you grew up in the city, regardless if you grew up in the res, you know, once you come connected to that, it's a powerful thing.